the financial markets. Kind of a roller coaster ride yesterday. When we finished up the trading day yesterday at 4, it was a mixed bag. Wasn't as bad. I don't think it was the Black Monday that had been predicted by the naysayers. The markets still lost some. But I think people are starting to calm down a bit, or at least I hope so. And that's the message from President Trump today. He posted several things on Truth Social yesterday, and basically his overall message to you and me is don't panic. Take a deep breath, calm down, everything's going to be okay. In a Monday afternoon post on Truth Social, the president stressed that the, quote, the United States has a chance to do something that should have been done decades ago, and he's right. He said, don't be weak, don't be stupid, don't be a panicking. This is his new word, I guess. It's a new party based on weak and stupid people. He said, be strong, be courageous, be patient, and greatness will result. This is sort of like Donald Trump at his best. He's an encourager. He's a cheerleader. He wants people to succeed. That's why he's such a great leader. Shortly after that post, the president wrote in another that, which he affirmed that several countries, and the list is growing, want to come to the negotiation table. They want to invite to the Oval Office, just like Prime Minister from Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, yesterday. The president said, countries from all over the world are talking to us. Tough but fair parameters are being set. Trump made it clear in cut number 3 that, yes, there's probably going to be some permanent tariffs, but there's also room for negotiation.
There have been some mixed messages from your administration. You're talking about negotiations, and yet others in your administration are saying that these tariffs are actually permanent. What is the action?
Well, it can both be true. There can be permanent tariffs, and there can also be negotiations, because there are things that we need beyond tariffs. We need open borders. You know, we almost had a deal with China where we're going to open up China. It was almost done. Some of you remember it during my first term, and it was very disappointing. We ended up making a great deal. $50 billion worth of product was sold. $50 billion. You'd like that in Israel. And I made that deal, but it wasn't the deal that I wanted. It was the deal that I wanted was that, plus they're going to open up China so that our companies could go into China and compete with other countries and China for for a large number of people. And at the very end, that deal was terminated, and we went to a piece of the deal. And so there are a lot of things outside of tariffs, but tariffs are very important. But there are a lot of things like opening up countries that were totally closed. China is essentially a closed country. In fact, it is a closed country. And what they do is they charge tariffs so that if you sell cars or if you sell anything, nobody's going to buy it because the price is out of control. But that's true with a lot of other countries also. So we're going to get fair deals and good deals with every country. And if we don't, we're going to have nothing to do with them. They're not going to be allowed to participate in the United States.
President Trump in the Oval Office yesterday. If you're watching us on the Salem News Channel, you saw Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu sitting beside the president in a very crowded Oval Office yesterday as they were meeting, talking about how we go forward with Israel as well. Let me invite you to join us on the Salem News Channel, wherever you watch streaming TV. We're on Pluto TV, Samsung TV, and a lot of others. So join us on the Salem News Channel, and of course, the hundreds of radio stations around the country as well. The president made it very clear that, yes, he wants to talk. He talked about the fact that the Japanese prime minister, he spoke with him, and according to the president, he's sending a top team to negotiate. He said they've treated the U.S. very poorly on trade. They don't take our cars, but we take millions of theirs. Likewise, agriculture, many other things. And, of course, he talked about how China loves to send us products, but they've gotten kind of upset. They've gotten defensive when the president has suggested that we increase the tariffs on their products. Not only suggested, but is going to do it, which is going to affect a lot of products, a lot of things that you and I use. But that's just part of the process and part of maybe the sacrifice that we have to go through in order to see this through. But I do think we have to listen to President Trump and those in his administration who make it clear we have to stay the course. We have to be calm. And as I mentioned yesterday and encouraged you yesterday, put the 401k statement, the IRA statement, put those to the side. Don't look at those over the next few weeks, unless you're like Warren Buffett and you're sitting on a bunch of cash. Buffett is the only billionaire on the list of Bloomberg's 500 richest people who has made money this first quarter, because last year he made the decision to sit on $300 billion of cash rather than investing it in the market. And that has paid off in a big way. Now, watch Warren Buffett. He'll start buying. He'll start buying some of the stocks that have dropped over these past few days, and he'll make another boatload of money by doing so. It's all in the timing, isn't it? I don't have $300 billion of cash to sit on, so that's not a problem for me. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was in the Oval Office yesterday discussing the latest trade negotiation with the president. And he was the first, of course. After the tariffs were announced last week, the prime minister from Israel was the first foreign head of state to sit down with President Trump to talk about the tariffs. And he made it very clear. He said that he told the president that he will eliminate, that Israel will eliminate any trade deficit with the U.S. This is cut number 4.
We will eliminate the trade deficit with the United States. We intend to do it very quickly. We think it's the right thing to do. And we're going to also eliminate trade barriers, a variety of trade barriers that have been put up unnecessarily. And I think Israel can serve as a model for many countries who ought to do the same. I recognize the position of the United States. It says, we're allowing other countries to put tariffs on us, but we don't put tariffs on them. And, I'm a free trade champion, and free trade has to be fair trade. And I think that's basically the position that you have put forward, Mr. President. We are going to eliminate the tariffs, and rapidly.
And I applaud the Prime Minister for doing that. And I hope and I believe a lot of others will follow suit. But it gets me back to a question that I've can't quite find the answer to, and that is, why now? Why did it take so long? Now, and look, I'm a big supporter of Israel. I love Israel. I pray for Israel. But has it occurred to you that maybe they should have done this a long time ago? I mean, we're their biggest supporter in the world. Why have they ever charged us tariffs? And the same with all these other countries who are suddenly wanting to negotiate. They've been ripping us off for all these years. China, India, Vietnam, the European Union. Suddenly they want to talk. I'm glad they do want to talk. But isn't it interesting that suddenly they've decided, well, we'll go 0 for 0, or we won't. We're not going to charge you those tariffs anymore. If they're wrong now, they were wrong then. Just a thought. Love to get your thoughts on that. 800-655-MIKE, 800-655-6453. You can text me on the MyPillow text line. Your calls, we'll put you in queue. Let's go to the phones. In Jacksonville, Florida, Sam is patiently waiting. How are you, Sam?
I'm good. Congratulations on filling a big pair of shoes this morning. It's good to have the program go on.
Oh yes, we're giving Mr. Gallagher some time off to celebrate his birthday. I'm happy to be with you, Sam.
To answer your question as to why now, you immediately transitioned to a trip overseas to Israel, and it appears you have a Christian worldview, as do I and many of your listeners.
Yes.
And the answer to your question as to why now is because God's ways are not our ways, and His time is not our time. And
I agree.
His ways So it's God's answer. I don't know that we need to know the specific answer, but it's in His hands, and it will work out for good.
Yeah,
that's my answer to it.
Yeah, and Sam, look, I don't want anyone to misunderstand. I love Israel. I support Israel. I've been there. I've been blessed to have traveled to Israel 5 times, and was looking forward to number 6 this fall, but that's just not going to work. But I did, I paused, and not just Israel. I don't want to pick on Israel. Other countries who are now rushing to the table to say, okay, we're going to negotiate. We're going to do away with our tariffs. If tariffs are not good now, why did they charge us? And a lot of these countries, we were sending money to them as well.
Well, I don't have an answer to that. I'm not an economist, but I do invest in the stock market, and this will all blow over, and we'll be in good hands in a few more weeks.
That's for sure, Sam. And I wish everyone had your attitude for sure. Hey, have a blessed day. Appreciate your phone call. 800-655-MIKE, 1-800-655-6453 is how you join the conversation on this Tuesday. William is in Louisville, Kentucky. Welcome, William. You're on the Mike Gallagher Show.
Hey, how you doing this today?
Wonderful. Hope you are.
Yeah, real quick on Israel. I am a Christian. I support Israel. They are our only true ally in the Mideast, I think. But I was astounded to find out that they've been taking advantage of us along with a bunch of other countries. And the amount of money and military hardware we supplied that country with, I'm at a loss for words.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a good way to describe my thoughts, too. I was surprised. I never had really thought about tariffs like I have these past few days. And you start looking at the list at a lot of these countries. I mean, Vietnam, they charge us 90% tariffs. It makes me think, why would we even want their products if they're going to charge us a 90% tariff? Taiwan, 64%. Indonesia, 64%. Cambodia, 97%. Some of the African countries, South Africa, 60%. Some of these countries we send a lot of money to in aid. Of course, I think DOGE is about to take care of some of that. And it just occurred to me, well, why are we buying their products? Well, and it really brings home President Trump's his whole thing is, let's start making these products in America. Let's let Americans work in American manufacturers and make those products here.
Yeah, and real quick, for example, Canada. I mean, we buy lumber from Canada. We have trees in the United States. Yep. We buy energy from Canada. We can make our own energy. So I just don't. I just don't get it. Why we've allowed ourselves to be taken advantage of for so many years. I mean, ever since the end of World War II, basically.
Yeah, for 50 years it appears. In some cases, it's like our leaders, both Republicans and Democrats, were asleep at the wheel.
Yeah, yes, sir. Well, listen, that's what I wanted to say, and I appreciate the time.
All right, appreciate your phone call, William. Thanks for listening. 800-655-6453, one line open. David is in Delaware. Welcome, David.
Well, thank you very much. First time I've ever been able to get through.
Well, I'm glad to have your call.
Well, thank you. 2 things I wanted to say. One, I think Americans have historically been very spoiled. We've had things good. But, I think there's a time that one thing that Trump was a great communicator. I think there's a time for like a Kennedy-type speech to the American public. I mean, I've lost a lot in the stocks recently, but, Kennedy made that speech about, us making the sacrifice for the country instead of us just expecting the country to take care of us all the time. And I think this is a time where we people know it's going to blow over. Financial people will tell you, hang tough, you'll get through it. But I don't think he's communicating that to the American public. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something that he needs to do, Kennedy-type speech. And the other thing is, like the recent caller just said, about us. Oh my God, my mind just went right. Oh, why we have never done this before?
Yeah,
because we've never had a businessman running the country. We've had politicians who just want to dish out the money that's not theirs because they just want to buy off the votes and keep the people happy. They're not showing true leadership. And leadership means standing up and taking the shots in the back, taking the shots in the front, and realizing, hey, I've got to do this. And if you read any of Trump's books, he's like that too.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not happy with everything he does, but I'm just saying this is a time where we need someone to stand up and say enough is enough.
Yeah.
And I don't think that we as a country are used to it, and politicians don't like it because they're not making people happy by spending other money.
Yeah. Politicians, and I appreciate your phone call, David, all good points. Politicians have a different mindset than a successful business person like Donald Trump. Politicians are always trying to please everybody. They know they can't, but still they try. Donald Trump is approaching this from the standpoint, just like he's done business. He doesn't necessarily have to be your friend, doesn't necessarily want to be your friend to do business with you. But in the business world, we do business with people we don't necessarily like. We maybe don't like the way they do business. But we do it because we all want to make a profit. Same thing with this. Donald Trump has made it clear to these countries, hey, look, if you want to sell your products to the largest market in the world, then fine. But if you charge us tariffs, we're going to charge you tariffs. Now, maybe you get upset with me. Maybe you don't like me. That's okay. You don't have to like me. But I'm going to charge you a tariff as long as you're charging us a tariff. And in the past, politicians, Joe Biden, he wanted these foreign leaders to like him. He wanted them to respect him, a different type of respect. I think that the foreign leaders probably respect Donald Trump very much so, but in a totally different way. And look, yes, we want to be friendly with nations. We want to develop those relationships. But at the end of the day, what kind of relationship is it if we're being nice to, let's say, for example, Miramar, who charges us 88% tariffs? We're being nice to Miramar. They like us, and they're ripping us off. Now, I don't know how much product comes from Miramar. I don't know. Sri Lanka, 88%. Syria, 81%. You know, one thing I think we're going to do a little research. For example, Syria, and just see beside that 81%, have the number of how much imports come into the U.S. I have no idea what comes from Syria. But we got to get past the idea that they have to like us. They can respect us, and we can do business with them. But I don't care if they like us or not. Do you? 800-655-MIKE, 1-800-655-6453. I'm Joey Hudson, in for Mike today. Glad to have you aboard.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.